Yo, what's going on, everyone? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's just more of me kind of like ranting about this past weekend, the World Series of Warzone tournament that has a prize pool of up to $1 million if you make it to the finals, and if you win it, obviously. This past weekend was a open qualifier, so pretty much you just had to sign up your team. Jump into the the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the specific time slots, and your top 10 games, they track those. Top 100, move on. Pretty straightforward. Now, with that being said, my first mistake was definitely signing up for this tournament. With how the game is right now, Warzone, season 4 right now, currently 6/26, 2025. I'm not sure exactly what day I'm gonna drop this video, but as of today, this game is in the worst state it has been in a very, very long time. The servers are absolutely trash. They're running outdated servers, don't want to put any money into it for whatever reason. The hacking situation is the worst it's been, hands down. It's completely out of control, and for whatever reason, Activision, Sledgehammer, Raven, whoever, there's so many companies that are involved in Warzone. Whoever is running the Warzone, I forget off the top of my head, they don't have a fix for it. And to be honest, they probably won't ever have a fix for it unless they do some type of if you get caught cheating, your IP address or like your hardware is banned. That's the only thing that's gonna stop this, first of all. Okay, so like I said, my first mistake was signing up for this tournament, just because like I said before, the state of the game is trash right now. It's terrible. Hackers are running crazy. With that being said, me and my two teammates, my boy JD, shout out to my boy JD, and my boy Manny, we've played in the previous 2 World Series of Warzones. We've done okay. Just 3 dads that like to compete, because there's no other tournaments. Warzone, you can't play in any other tournaments, so this is the only time for us to actually compete. So 3 dads, we all work full-time jobs, super busy. We play during like Monday through Friday. We'll play, I don't know, like maybe a couple hours, if that. On the weekend is when we get most of the time in, Friday, Saturdays. So I guess you would consider us like casual players. I have a 2+ KD. Both of them have a 1+ KD, which is I could probably hear you right now, screaming at the screen. Oh, 2 KD, that's nothing. I have a 3 KD, I have a 4 KD. Okay, good for you, not us. It's still pretty decent. It is what it is. Even with the elimination death ratio, whatever, I'll take it. I got a 2 KD. We're good players. We're not the best, obviously, but we're not the worst. We want to compete, so we play in this tournament. One of the main issues I had with this tournament is you obviously have to be registered for the tournament if you want your scores to track, which is, yeah, understandable. But what they did was they had this as an open playlist, which they had in the past. This year in specific, it was an open playlist, so which means anyone could jump into it. Anyone. You didn't have to be registered. If you weren't registered and you just jumped into the game, you could play. It doesn't matter how good you did. None of your scores would track. So why would you jump into it? So that's a big fumble on Call of Duty's part, is they left this as an open playlist, which is ridiculous. It's like I said before, it's a $1 million prize pool, so they left the door open for cheaters. 3-day tournament, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. One of my teammates couldn't play on Friday, so we just played Saturday, Sunday. So Saturday we play, and it was sweaty. You know what I mean? We didn't run into, I guess, too many hackers, at least blatantly. We did okay. We did okay. I think we finished like top 800 out of like 2,000, like 3,000 teams or whatever it was. I forget the exact number. We finished off like 800. We had a couple good games. We did okay. It was expected. How we did on Saturday, I kind of expected how we're gonna do. I always have the goal every year is getting top 100 and moving on to the next stage. Realistically, was that gonna happen? I mean, probably not. To get top 100 in this tournament, you have to be like pro level or just like super great, which is, of course, I'm not either of those. But I figured I'd shoot for top 100, probably get like top 500. I'd be good with that. Okay, so like I said, day 2 did okay, finished like 800. Okay, whatever. Day 3, we got a lot of ground to make up, and from day 2 to day 3 was a complete switch. Day 3 of this tournament was an absolute disaster. We ran into so many hackers. I mean, so many sus players. I'm pretty sure, at least half. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe half of them were cheating, okay? The other half, super sus. It is what it is. We couldn't get anything going. We lost about, every single gunfight. There was like so many sus plays. It was just a disaster. The time slots were 9 a.m. till 3 in the afternoon. An hour and a half in, I was completely checked out. That first hour and a half was miserable. It was not fun. It wasn't fun. I was ready to get off, so I stuck it out. We played. We ended up getting off early, but I think we played like a couple more hours. But it was just, like I said, I can't say this enough. It was an absolute disaster. Anyone could jump into this playlist, which left the door open for tons of cheaters to just jump in and ruin other people's games. I'm sure, involved or not involved, but if you're like into Call of Duty as much as I am, you've been seeing all the stuff, social media, that people would have their, their gamer tags, change them to do no World Series of Warzone for you. Hackers, going after, the pro level players and, killing them. And we ran into this one dude one guy that solo queued into the game, which means he jumped in by himself with no team. He completely slammed me and two of my teammates, you know, super quick. But yeah, he was playing by himself. He absolutely slammed all three of us. He was definitely cheating, and I look him up and he's not even registered for the tournament. After the last hour and a half, every time, you know, we'd get wiped by a team that seemed like they were sus was like pretty much all of them. I would go in and I'd look them up. I probably looked up, like, I don't know, towards the end, like 20 teams, and a good like 10 of them, they weren't even registered. They were just in there to ruin other people's days. So that was like such a fumble on Call of Duty's part. They should have made it to where you had to be at least registered to jump into the game mode. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's $1 million prize pool, you know, top 100 move on. You have to be the top 100 teams out of everyone in the world to move on to the next stage, and they had it as an open format to where anyone could play. You didn't have to be registered, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's ridiculous. You know, this is a tournament that me and my, you know, my two squad mates, you know, we look forward to every single year. You know, we talk about it all year. You know, we want to play into it, get super excited for it. I definitely won't be playing in another qualifier unless, well, they're never gonna get the cheating situation figured out. So that's is what it is. But if they don't make it, at least you have to be registered to even jump into that tournament. Like, I won't be playing it. It's ridiculous. If it was up to me, you have to be registered to jump into the playlist. You have to stream, and you have to at least have a face cam or something, just, you know, just so if someone thinks you're sus, you know, the moderators can go in and, you know, kick that person. Not everyone takes it as serious as, you know, as me and my team, which is understandable. You know, it's understandable, but hey, if you don't take it seriously, you shouldn't be trying to make top 100. You shouldn't be allowed to. And the dumbest part of it is that people were obviously cheating to get into the top 100, and I'm pretty sure at least half, if not, you know, a handful of the people that made top 100, you know, it's shitty because they prevented legit teams from getting to top 100. And it doesn't make any sense because the next stage of this tournament is they place you in a lobby that's monitored. The stream, you have to have face cam. The people that were cheating that got into the top 100, you're gonna get found out. No ifs, ands, or buts. People are gonna know. It's not like you're gonna sneak through. So it's just like, it's for what? All you did was ruin other people's chances to qualify. And it's just, the cheating situation is like so bad right now. And Call of Duty or Ricochet, you know, that's the name of the anti-cheat. Ricochet, it's a complete joke. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. I don't care what they say. It's probably just for freaking, they just made it up. There's not a chance in hell it's a legit cheat. I don't know if Call of Duty has like a contract with them. I don't know why they haven't fired them, because it doesn't work. But it's just, you know, they just don't care. Call of Duty doesn't care. There's enough people that play this game, you know what I mean, all the time, and that buy, you know, the bundles in the store that make this game a ton of money. So I mean, they won't ever, you know, take this hacking problem serious enough to do anything about it, just because, you know, why? You know, other people are gonna play. You know, me talking about this, you know, I'm like the minority, you know what I mean? I'm by no means, I'm not a huge streamer or anything like that, but, you know, I take this game serious, which is, you're probably thinking, oh, why do you take this game serious? You know what I mean? It's not that deep. It's just a game. But yeah, understandable. But, you know, I love Call of Duty. I've been playing Call of Duty since the original Modern Warfare, all the way up until I think I stopped playing like around maybe Advanced Warfare, or I forget the name of it. I took like a couple years off just because I kind of lost interest. But then, you know, COVID happened, Warzone happened, and ever since Warzone came out, I've been completely obsessed. I've been hooked. You know, I love this game. You know, I get to play with, you know, my high school friends, you know, my close friends, and just have a blast. This game has, you know, Warzone has the potential to be so good if, you know, the developers cared and put time into, you know, fixing the cheating problem, fixing, you know, the servers, and just doing what they need to do. But they won't. Playing a game that I love, that, you know, that I feel like it doesn't love me back. It's kind of dumb to say it that way, but I mean, that's the only way I can like really explain it. Other games have it figured out. You know what I mean? Fortnite, Apex, CSGO. I'm pretty sure those, you know, those games, they have cheaters, no doubt, but you do not hear or see it nearly as much as Call of Duty for whatever reason. And I feel like it's a simple fix. If you get caught cheating, you get your hardware banned. You know, your IP address, whatever it is, you get that banned. So that means they can't play anymore unless they get a whole new system, or I don't even know how that works, and a new internet or whatever, because it's obvious that what they have right now does not work. All they do is they ban your account. It takes 5 minutes to make another account. So the people that cheat, they don't care if they get banned. They're just gonna make another account. All you need is an email address and make an Activision account. It takes like 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. So if they did the hardware bans, that would solve it. But for whatever reason, they don't want to do it. I think I remember hearing something about like privacy. They have to like install something on their computer. Hey, who gives a shit? Install some shit on my computer if that's gonna help. You know, like what are we talking about here? Like I said, this is just a kind of a weird video of just me, you know, ranting. I'm pretty sure you see, you know, other top creators making the same video, but I figured you might get a little perspective if if it came from, so, someone that's like you know what I mean, someone that's a casual, you still play the game quite a bit, you do love playing the game, but I just want to kind of give you my first-hand experience. It just really made me realize, I was always in denial before. The last couple of years the game hasn't been that great, and everyone shit on Call of Duty because to level up all the guns every year, you know what I mean, you have to buy the new games because you're at a disadvantage. And I hear all the gripes, but I just kind of I was in denial about the whole thing until this past weekend we had that experience with the Warzone. That just made me realize that game probably won't ever change. There's gonna be enough people that always play it. As long as people are buying the bundles in the store, you know what I mean, Call of Duty doesn't care. They won't ever fix their game, which is it's kind of like heartbreaking. I probably sound like I'm maybe over exaggerating, but when you love a game this much and the potential for it to be good if they fixed all the stuff, to realize that they're probably not ever gonna fix the game and it's always gonna kind of be like that is it's heartbreaking. It sucks. I definitely won't be playing this game as much. I definitely need a break for this game. But I mean, with that being said, will I still play it? Yeah. No, I'm still gonna play it, and I could already hear the I could already read the comments. They're like, oh well, you're part of the problem. You still play the game. I hear that, and I'm sure the big streamers hear that all the time. Which is, I'm not comparing myself to the big streamers by any means, but it's just if I stop playing the game, it wouldn't make any difference. Because Call of Duty doesn't care, because people like me will continue to play the game even though it's broken and they feel like they don't need to fix it. But anyways, drop a comment, let me know, did you guys play in the World Series of Warzone? Do you guys feel the same as me? Am I overreacting? Just let me know. If you made it this far in the video, I really do appreciate you. It's the next one. Peace.